about 45 minutes or so, something like that. Once again at my son's swim practice, and so just trying to multitask here. I've got, of course, my trusty Maximus is hanging out in the front seat of me in the truck here. Earlier today, had a little workout in. Yesterday, I was able to pull an American record on the deadlift, not on the deadlift, sorry, on the rowing machine, concept 2, and today was deadlift day, so I hit 450 for 12 conventional bar. Pretty easy. I feel like I probably could have done 16, 17, quite honestly. So I'd like to see hit 500 for 12, which would be a pretty good landmark. That would be continued strength over what I got last year. Continue to get older, continue to get stronger. I'd be pretty happy with 500 for 12 right now. And honestly, I think that's within reach. Tomorrow I'll hop back on the rowing machine and break the American record again. I mean, yesterday was just a little feeler to see how, kind of just get used to the distance. I'll go a little bit harder tomorrow. Like I said, I was 118 with it yesterday, probably hit 117s tomorrow, maybe 116s after that, a couple times there, and then world record stands at 115.6. I think I can hit all of those, so we'll see. All right, because I've got a couple weeks until I have to leave the country. I'll be out of the country for a couple weeks. I want to get all this stuff knocked out while I have a little time to train. So this, hopefully I can avoid injury and all the things line up so I can get those things done. All right, let's say hi to everybody. Rick, the Charger Mopar, down 40-year carnivore, God, hanging out down in Florida, saying hi. Good to see you, Rick. DJ Impavido, what would you eat if someone has IBS? Are eggs okay? Yeah, I mean, eggs are one of those things where some people do have to struggle with that. So, I mean, I try it and see. I think the safest diet is going to be fatty red meat. I mean, that's probably going to be the most well tolerated. And again, you have to just be mindful of how much fat you're consuming at one time. Some people may struggle to consume a lot of fat at one time, so you might have to just kind of ease into that. Eggs, you could potentially include them in, but a lot of people would have trouble with eggs. Just saying that. But again, once your gut gets healed and gets better, then you should be able to handle eggs for most people. Burns Aquatics, did you get the message about the audio on your latest videos? Thanks for all you do. Yeah, somebody mentioned that. Yeah, I know it's something to do with, I think I talk about the video interviews I do, and I know there's been an issue with the sync, something about, we're using, what's the app we're using, Riverside, and we're just having some issues. I think mine because I have such a bad upload speed. Hang on just a second, guys. I gotta answer a text message. I'm back. All right. The movement is growing. Spoke to a plant-based doctor today after we finished speaking. It seems his eyes were open. Definitely is growing. It's definitely going. I mean, you just can't deny the results. At least some people are having, and whether it's 5% of the population, 10% of the population, 50% of the population, 80% of the population, I don't know what number responds well to this, but we clearly are putting disease in remission, and that's really cool to me as a physician. And so that is why I've been fighting and taking all the criticism and all the snide remarks and comments and the people questioning my intelligence and my ethics and my the way I look and whatever. I mean, it's just because I see a lot of good in this, and I hopefully will continue to do this. And it's again, it's on all of us. All of us have to share this message. All of us have to support this in order for it to succeed, because there are a lot of forces that don't want this to happen. There are so much money that could be potentially at risk if people get healthy. It's sad to think. It's sad to think we live in a world where people make a lot of money off of ill, sick people, and they want that to continue. It's not why I went into medicine. And so, anyway, we got to fight, guys. We're in a fight. All right, we got in bed during COVID with a little pink hand thing. I'm not sure what that's about, but Cyrus says hi, and we got Dizzy Will. Really enjoy your recent training videos. Keep them coming. Yeah, I mean, I do. I've been training like this for my whole life, guys. I put them up there. Some people don't like it. Some people that's boring to them, but I don't know. I think it's give some people some idea, maybe hopefully some inspiration, see what's possible at close to 60 years of age. I mean, I think as long as you treat yourself well, That's I mean, there's a lot you can do out of that, and you don't need the drugs. You don't need to be on TRT. Everybody say you're on TRT. I'm not on TRT, guys. All right, I've got a little $5, what do you call it, super chat thing. Let me go to that one here. It's Nav again. Doc, when did the dentist say I grind my teeth in my sleep? Any recommendations about that? Well, they should have given you maybe a a little mouth guard or something like that, perhaps. I mean, I don't know if they talked to you about that. I mean, there are options for that. Unfortunately, this is certainly not area of my expertise. I mean, I am I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I'm completely useless in this category, but I would say that obviously, why do people grind their teeth? Is it a anxiety type of thing? Is it something going on? I don't know. I mean, honestly, this is an area that I have really not looked anything out. It's so far out of my normal realms. So, I mean, I would say, the dentist probably had some level of offers that can help. I mean, obviously, you want to protect those teeth. Teeth are valuable, right? We're the only creature on the planet that, we are the only creature on the planet if we lose our teeth, because of modern dentistry, we can replace it. But if any animal on the planet loses its teeth, it's basically dead, right? Those things are essential to being able to eat, right? I mean, if my dog lost all his teeth, he'd be dead, unfortunately, unless if I pureed all his food for him. But I mean, in the reality, teeth are incredibly important. So we want to protect those teeth. Teeth should be lasting us our lifetime. We got so many people. You think about how many old people are out there that got dentures, partials, bridges, implants, blah, blah. That should not be the case. The only reason that's the case is, generally your diet is not what you're designed to eat, right? Your teeth should not be falling out, decaying. Your gums should not be eroding, inflamed, if your diet was on point, right? I mean, outside of trauma, you get punched in the face or in a car wreck and they knock your teeth out. That's a different story. But your teeth should not rot out of your head. And I know this is off tangent here, but as far as the teeth grinding, maybe wear a little prosthesis if they recommend that for a while, a little protective, brace or something like that, or whatever they put in your mouth, a little mouth guard, and then just continue on the general lifestyle thing. And I think there's an underlying cause, and I'd have to look it up to see what are the most common reasons for teeth grinding. I suspect it's probably some sort of maybe anxiety related thing. And I think that's all related to all that mental health stuff is related to diet and nutrition. So I think as your overall health improves, if that's what's the cause of that, should improve as well. Sorry, I don't have a better answer. That's just a little out of my general realm of expertise. So that's the best I can do for you. Sorry about that. Thoughts on Kerry Golden salted? Yeah, I mean, I think most of the butter's fine. I mean, I know there was some issue with like the packaging being a problem, but honestly, I don't think that's that big of a deal. Quite honestly, I mean, it's fine. Butter's, I think I have Kerrygold at my house, and in fact, I cooked, what did I cook in there last night? I cooked up some shrimp. I like shrimp. I'll eat them from time, but I just didn't have. I cooked it for my wife. She wanted some shrimp. I gave her steak and shrimp for dinner last night. But yeah, we use it. We use it fairly reasonably, fairly often. Christian Platter, Carnivore. Thanks for caring and sharing the truth. Well, I'm trying my best. Cyrus, is it okay if you eat chuck roast and salt? Sure. I mean, if you like it. I mean, there's ways to prepare chuck roast so it's more tasty, in my view. I think this is one of the ones that does well with a very slow preparation. I personally, if I have a chuck roast, I'll sous vide it overnight, typically for a long time, just to break down that connective tissue so it's more tender, and then you can cut it into steaks, literally. Polish Mike is saying good evening. Tracy Parker says Kamala wants to get rid of beef. I know there was that clip of her talking to that reporter about cutting back on red meat. So yeah, that's not anything I'm voting for. So favorite Metallica album, Harper Antelonis. Gosh, Metallica, I don't know. I mean, I know that one song was Enter Sandman, which is quite a good song, but I don't know. I really wasn't a big Metallica guy, to be honest, back in the day. But anyway, I don't have a big album favorite. Jason Stevens says thanks for all you do. What is your all-time favorite steak? Says Nicholas Blesta. I mean, I'll tell you my favorite restaurant steak. I can tell you that because I remember that one pretty clearly. I was in New York City. I was in Manhattan I think it was on Fifth Avenue, in a place called Beck's Prime. Tony Martinez, a friend of mine, he was a lawyer, he was running for Congress, or no, he was running as a state assemblyman at the time, and I was meeting him there. We went out to dinner. I can't remember why I was in New York. I was in there for some reason. Oh, I think I came out to do a podcast. This is probably 2020. This is right at the beginning, right before coronavirus. That's right. I came out to do the London Real podcast, and I did another one with Bar Stars. Bar Stars is like a calisthenics channel where they do all this stuff on the rings and all that stuff. And I was doing podcasts with those guys, and I was in New York. One of the few times I've been in New York. I haven't really spent much time in New York other than passing through the airport occasionally. So I was there for about 2-3 days. So I went out to dinner with Tony, and we had Beck's Prime, and we had it was a porterhouse for two, and it had a sort of a bone marrow compound butter on top of it. And it was just, I wanted to lick the plate. It was so good. It was, it was like for two, and it was me and Tony split. And I was like, no offense, but I was still hungry. I was like, because I'm a big, I can eat a lot, like whatever the normal suggestion for two people, I usually could eat that by myself very easily. So that was really good. That was a really good steak. I've had a lot of good steaks, so gosh. I had a really good, and I'll tell you, I was at another restaurant I was at that was quite good the other day. It was in Santa Monica, my wife's birthday. We were in California. We had to pick my son up from camp, and I had to fly in from Oklahoma. I was speaking at this event next to Tim Tebow in Oklahoma, and flew in. I had to fly in that night. It was funny, Tebow's wife's birthday was that day, and my wife's birthday was the next day. So it was like June 28th, June 29th, and I fly into LA. I made reservations at BOA. I asked the hotel concierge there in Santa Monica. We were staying at the Oceana Hotel. It's a real nice hotel right near the, it's down from the pier, overlooking the ocean. It was a real pretty place. Expensive though, expensive. But he said go to BOA. It's a good restaurant. So we went there, and it was good. It was a good steakhouse, but they had this little Wagyu flight, and it was 3 different cuts of different Wagyu from the different prefects or whatever, prefectures in Japan. I'm not sure exactly how they divided up, and one was like a snow Wagyu or something like that, and it was ridiculously expensive. They were like, I think there were 2 or 3 ounce pieces, and there were 3 of them, and it was like $200. It was incredibly over the top expensive, but that was really, really good. So anyway, I don't spend that kind of money typically. That's usually I'm eating, grocery store steaks, or I'm very fortunate. A lot of ranchers will send me steaks, but I don't like to spend that much money on food if I can avoid it. So, but yeah, those are some of the good ones I can think of. What do you tell people who have had gallbladders removed, says Haley Brown? Well, I think, you certainly can do a carnivore, ketogenic, or low-carb diet. You may, depending how recent it is. Now remember, when you have your gallbladder out, it doesn't mean you can't produce bile anymore. Bile is actually produced in the liver. The gallbladder just kind of stores it and then squeezes some out when the upper intestine starts to experience fat. It's particular when fat starts to enter what we call the duodenum. We have this secretion, something called cholecystokinin CCK, which literally translates into squeeze a gallbladder, and the name does. And that is lost. You don't have this sort of squeeze of the gallbladder. But the other thing that happens is there's something called the sphincter of Oddi, which opens up. I can't remember if it's an ampulla of Vater. Anyway, it's been a while since I've reviewed my general surgery anatomy. I haven't had to do that in many, many years. But anyway, so what happens is the common bile duct, which ultimately ends up going into this, as it enters the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine, actually will expand over time if you don't have a gallbladder. So what happens is you have a bunch of bile just sitting there waiting into that duct. And as soon as that sphincter opens, all that accumulated bile just dumps into there. So it kind of acts like a pseudo gallbladder, if you will. We do know there's certainly MRI and ultrasound evidence that duct will actually expand to hold more bile. So it may not be exactly the same amount as a gallbladder, but you're getting a similar bolus effect. So the upshot of that is you might have to just go a little bit easy on the fat, maybe eat smaller meals for a while till you adjust to it and go from there. But you can certainly do carnivore without gallbladders. A lot of people, lots and lots and lots and hundreds and thousands of people have done that. All right, Carnivore Ron, thank you, Dr. Beck, for all the information you give us. I've been carnivore for 6 years. Well, hopefully it's been helpful. I guess I assume it is. I mean, if you've been doing it for 6 years and it hadn't been helping you, then you're doing the wrong thing. I mean, that's what I tell people. If it's not helping you, don't do it. But sounds like it's helping you, so I'm glad you're doing well. BSKA, what beverages do I enjoy? I mostly drink water. I sometimes, I'm not a hot liquid drinker. I don't like coffee or tea. I never drink coffee. I don't really like tea. Every once in a while, my wife will make a cup of like lemon ginger herbal tea and ask me, and sometimes I'll sip on that. But I mean, for the most part, it's just water, and it's different. Maybe it's sparkling water. Do I drink alcohol? Almost never. I mean, like this year, it's 2024. I think in total this year, I had a glass of champagne, like a half glass of champagne on my wife's birthday. I had maybe, I don't know, I'd say 2 glasses of wine prior to that this year. And that's probably, I might, obviously, the rest of the year, I might have 4 or 5 glasses of wine a year, and that's about it. So I'm not a drinker, alcohol-wise guy. I just don't really see much benefit in it, to be honest. And, I'm fine. I don't need to socialize. I know some people feel like they need it as a crutch to socialize or whatever, and I don't feel that way. And I don't like the way it makes me feel. I just like performing. I like feeling good when I wake up to be able to do stuff. And so that's my sort of things I enjoy. Jeff, so we got Jeff here answering. Have you heard any testimonies about carnivore diet helping with chronic TMJ issues? A couple times. It's not something I commonly see, but I think it's something that potentially could be beneficial. John Corson's 1 month in. Okay, keep going, man. I think that's ironic that I started the carnivore diet to try and get a heart attack. All right, Minneapolis Hoops Network saying that Dr. Kevin Smith, it's all about helping people and they are just about the money. I'm still healing and I've lost 52 pounds. So that's good. That's a good start, man, Kevin. Keep going, brother. All right, we got Aprili saying hey, and we got Anna Bielecki, hey, from Melbourne, Australia. Hopefully I'll get down to Australia one of these days, and maybe next year, maybe 2025. Somebody reached out to me to go there this year, and my schedule was already too full to do that, straight from Adelaide. So I might be doing that next year. So we'll have to see. Okay, we got MR Mediator 123. What would you suggest to people that struggle to get motivated in order to start eating healthy? Well, I suggest to people who struggle to get motivated in order to start eating healthy. Well, there's a lot of things I might potentially say. I think that, again, I think motivation is it's a transient thing. First of all, if you're expecting someone to cheerlead you and rah and be motivated every day, it's just not going to get you there. And Jocko Willing talks about this discipline stuff, and I think there's a lot of truth in that. I mean, I'm rarely motivated to work out or whatever. I just do it. I just get a mindset. I think what you have to do is you'd have to just sort of flip that switch in your mind. First thing you say, look, I'm going to be healthy. If you're unhealthy, say, being unhealthy, chronically sick or whatever disease, has a mindset associated with you. It starts to become your identity. It starts to define you. And you have to say, I will not be defined by this illness anymore. It's not who I am anymore. And that's the first thing. And then you have to say, well, okay, if I'm not going to be the sick person anymore, what can I envision myself as? What would I like to do? I mean, there's so many cool things you can do in life. I mean, you can think there's all these, just go hike mountains, explore, be an athlete. There's so many things our bodies are capable of doing if we don't abuse them. And so we've got so much that we can get out of life rather than just sitting on the couch watching TV, complaining about this and that, which unfortunately many people do. It's like, I can't remember who said this first, but they said, like humans are the only species that kind of die at age 25 and then wait till 70 to get buried. I mean, a lot of people are literally just going through the motions of life, and that's not a very good way to be. And so I think, obviously changing your mindset, And then, and then stacking things in your favor. You've got to get a supportive environment. It's like, get people around you that will support your goals. If you got a bunch of negative, whatever, naysayers, cut them out. Make your environment as healthy as possible. Get rid of the garbage out of your mouth. If it's in there, you're gonna eat it, right? If you got cookies and crap in the ice cream in the fridge and cookies in the cupboard and chocolate bars stashed, you are gonna eat those things. So you just gotta say, hey, give them to your neighbor, whatever. Get rid of them, throw them away, whatever it takes. Set yourself up for a healthy environment. If you got DoorDash, delete the app. Don't. That stuff is poison, literally. I mean, the fact you can sit on your ass, press a button, and have garbage delivered to your house is absolutely a miserable thing. So you've got to do the things that are going to facilitate it, so you don't have these habits. So you've got to make it hard for yourself to f up, right? So I mean, that's part of it. And then you've got to just start. It doesn't have to. You don't have to go into strict carnivore on day one or strict keto or whatever. Just start eating more healthy food. Stop being afraid of meat and eggs and things like that, because these idiots who don't know anything about nutrition have ruined our perception of what health is. And so now we're scared to eat stuff that actually nourishes us. Now we're afraid to eat things that actually keep us full. And so now we're always hungry eating crap. So that's where I'd start. And then, like I said, I'll just put a plug. I do consultations, individual consultations still on lifestyle and stuff like that. I'm hopefully pretty good at motivating people. That's you can go to I think the link in the bio here. You can go to any of my social media and the links in the bio. You can go to carnivore.diet. You can hop on a 30-minute phone call or a Zoom call with me. So anyway, all right. Nasha, truly thankful for the life-changing information here, Dr. Baker. I'm 2 weeks into carnivore and feel amazing. All right, well, I'm glad you're doing better, Nasha. It's a long journey though. This is the beginning. This is the absolute beginning of the journey. I will tell you that that feeling will go away over time. I mean, you'll feel good, but I mean, you'll get used to it. And it's good to get used to feeling good, because a lot of people are used to feeling bad and they don't know what it feels like. And so this will become the norm. This will become like, okay, this is my normal state of existence. And you won't really, we're strange creatures where we only kind of can notice deviations. Do I feel worse or better than yesterday, right? If I'm kind of at maintenance, I'm feeling okay. But then you got to continue on the lifestyle to continue to get better, to continue, in my view, stronger, faster, blah, 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 all those things from a physical standpoint. And of course, mentally, I mean, learn a new language, learn a new skill, keep using this momentum to continue to learn more, do more, be more, explore more, experience more, right? That's what you want to do with life. We only get a limited time, right? And you might as well make the most of it. All right, Aprili, do you have any advice for a type 1 diabetic? Yeah, sure, I do have a lot of advice. I think that going low carb makes a lot of sense. Carnivores can be excellent for type 1 diabetics. Obviously you'll have to reduce, you most likely will see a significant reduction in your overall insulin demands. You're not going to probably get off the insulin. I've seen a couple people who claim they've gotten off, at least for a period of time, but at the very least, you'll cut back on your insulin usage, and that's a good thing. You might have to switch from the very rapid acting insulin. A lot of these, depending, I don't know what your setup is, but some people have pumps, some people have the pens. You may find that the rapid acting insulin is not all that helpful, because carnivore, it's really slow. It sort of matches what was called regular insulin, the older version of insulin, which was, slower onset. It was like, it took like 15 minutes to start acting, and it was like, or 45 minutes to peak, and it would hang around for about 3 hours. So that really matches a profile of like protein more so than carbs. Carbs are like quick on, quick off, and so you might have to change the type of insulin you use. You're definitely going to need to use less, most likely. And the other thing, the nice thing I've seen with type 1 diabetics is kidney function improves. A lot of times I've seen people with reversal of diabetic retinopathy in their eyes get better. So it can be very helpful. Obviously a doctor would be helpful. I'll put a plug in for Rivero. This is our company. We're licensed in all 50 states. We're open in Texas and Florida right now. Next, going to Washington and California, and then we'll get to the rest of the states over the rest of the year. Get on the waiting list at Rivero, because we can have a doctor that can help you with that understands the whole keto, carnivore, low carb elimination diet sort of thing, and committed to lifestyle, and so on and so forth. So Revero, REVERO.com. We've got about 12,000 on our waiting list right now. We are gradually just, every 100 or so a week, we're just bringing them on. All right. Polish Mike, I eat over 2.5 pounds of fatty meat a day from my OMAD with plenty of tallow. I was once told it's too much protein. Now we'll get insulin resistance. I work out a lot and eat a lot, and I'm growing in size. I work out a lot and growing. That's fine. Are you growing in size as in a big fat belly, or are you growing in size as you're putting on muscle? I'm not sure what the upshot of that is. All right, what else we got here? Gloria M. is OMAD carnivore okay for a 61-year-old healthy female that strength trains 3 times a week and walks 10,000 steps a day? Well, I mean, when you mean okay, the biggest consideration around OMAD, and I think that's can be fine for a lot of people. Again, I don't know what your goals are. If you try to lose weight, gain weight, it's not specified. The caution, the concern I have about OMAD for some people is just hard to get enough calories or energy or food or volume, whatever metric you want to use, in one meal for many people. Now, I can do it. I mean, I was freaking ate 6 pounds of tomahawk ribeye steak a couple days ago. But a lot of people struggle. So if you're struggling to get enough food to support your activities, then no, you're gonna have to eat more often. So that would be the biggest issue I would see. If you're gonna do OMAD, I would recommend, if possible, do it early in the day rather than late in the day, because big old fat giant huge meals late at night often lead to interrupted sleep, issues. So I think if you're going to do that, try to do it earlier in the day. I don't know if why you would have to do that. Matt Maris, I think, I'm not sure I said, would you recommend carnivore diet for a non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? Yeah, I think it could be very good. I've seen a lot of people reverse fatty liver with carnivore. So yeah, I mean, I think the caveats are that you're actually losing weight and it helps you to stay satiated and so on and so forth. But yeah, you certainly can improve fatty liver disease with carnivore. Choline is, which that might be a plug for eggs. Eggs are pretty high in choline. Choline seems to protect the liver from damage. So there may be some reasons to do those things. Okay, Nash, I did not expect to not have to wear deodorant. Carnivore has eliminated the need, so weird and wonderful. I have seen a lot of people report that they just feel like they have less body odor, and perhaps, I guess, there's the odor in our body is typically related to bacteria that colonize our skin, and I suspect you probably attract different bacteria now, so maybe less smelly ones. I generally, I think even when I sweat, I don't think I stink, that much, as much, less, but anyway. All right. Joshua, what's up, Doc? Much respect. Appreciate that. Thanks, Josh. Tracy Parker, what else? Tracy, so weird. I have no earwax and carnivore diet. Is it a real thing? You might have less. I can see that being a thing. All right, what else we got here? Well, looks like I missed another super chat somewhere. Let me scroll down and see if I can find that. It's like a $2 one or something like that. Is CHD more related to blood pressure or LDL? They're both related. They're both causally related. They're both contributory. So I can't say one is, Can you get heart disease without high blood pressure? Probably. Can you get heart disease without high LDL? Yes, we definitely see that. So, they're both relevant. I'll just leave it at that. That's a pretty, the best way I could probably answer that in a realistic way. All right, what else? Let me scroll back up and see what I can find. Trying to go where I left off. I'm just going to read through these comments out here. All right, I think I found out where I was. All right, we got Greg Wilson, 693. Tomorrow's my day 90 on Carnivore. I was 15 pounds this time last year. Was 245 this morning. 70 pounds, man. Good stuff, man. It's nice. It's got to feel good. Good for you, man. Awesome to hear. Aprilia is saying hello, please. We already talked about something. Let's see. Carnivore keto helps with gallbladder issues. Yeah, we kind of talked about that, so I'm not going to reiterate that. All right. Can carnivore diet help low blood pressure and vertigo? You know, I think here's my pat answer to really anything. I think good nutrition can generally help most situations. I don't care what the condition is. And so, so I think potentially, and the best way to find out is just try it, see how it goes with you. And I've seen people certainly with vertigo get better. I've seen people with tinnitus get better. I've seen people with Meniere's disease get better. I've seen people with various blood pressure abnormalities get better, with various cardiovascular issues get better. So yeah, I mean, potentially it can help. My dentist likes me because she barely has any deep work to do when deep cleaning. I don't doubt that. That's probably true. All right. Alpha Chino, any advice on TRT? Well, some people may not want to hear this, but I think most people should not be on TRT. Even if you have a low testosterone, I think you should maximize lifestyle. You should spend a year or two just fixing your diet, fixing your sleep. I mean, these people are like, well, I'm going on TRT, but they're still out drinking beer, and they're still staying up late, and they're still not exercising, they're still being sedentary, and they're still moderately eating junk food, and they're under eating enough fat. You know, I think it ultimately is just a metabolic band-aid in my view. Now, I'm not saying it hasn't helped some people, but I think the vast majority of people on it probably could have done just as well without it. You know, a lot of people are lazy, though. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I mean, it's you know, it shuts down your endogenous production, it makes your nuts shrink up. So I mean, and it's not physiologically, you know, it's just not physiologic as to how it would normally be released in the body. So you've got that, you know, there are concerns around prostate health, or concerns around hemoglobin, you know, too much concentrated blood. So if you can all avoid it, I would avoid it. I would not. And also, you have to realize that don't base decisions on TRT based on a lab number. I mean, I think that's folly. I mean, it should be clinical first of all, you know. And if you're like, well, I'm fat and I'm fatigued, well, you need to get out there and change your lifestyle first. And until you know, with lifestyle, you might have to bust your ass. You might have to bust your ass for a couple of years. To get all that excess fat off you, if you got it. I don't know anything about you, but I mean, if you're sitting there with a big old fat beer belly and just kind of lazy and tired, testosterone is not the answer. It's not going to fix that. You know, and I think the things that will fix it. Now, a lot of guys go on TRT and they get really put on a decent amount of muscle, and sometimes they go in these super physiologic doses and say, "Oh, I'm just on TRT," when they're just, you know, they're just. You know, they're kind of lazy in my view. I mean, they're just trying to take an easy way out to put on muscle and not put in the work that it requires. Now, you know, if I were to go on TRT, I would be stronger. I would probably be a better athlete, all those types of things. But I'm not going to do that because I don't need it. I mean, I don't need to be on a drug. You know, I don't want to be on a drug. So anyway, I'm kind of anti-TRT. If you just, that's just the way it is. So you may not want to hear that, but that's my thoughts. All right, we got another $5 super chat. Beef to be fit. Is coronary artery disease because it never happens in veins? LDL is in both. Blood pressure is only in one. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. Yeah, I mean, there's a you know, I mean, but you can have coronary artery disease with a systolic of 120, right? I mean, it's not like you have to have, you know, 200 milligrams of systolic pressure in there. So yeah, I mean, there's a differentiation between, and this is a question like Malcolm Kendrick. Well, if it's all about LDL, why don't we get LDL plaque deposits in the veins, right? And you know, and then why do we have it at certain bifurcation points? You know, we often see it where there's turbulent flow. So yeah, the flow characteristics and the pressure do contribute to it. But again, it's a multifactorial situation there. So, you can't just say, well, if I just have high blood pressure, I'm going to have coronary artery disease, because it may or may not be true either. You may not see there are people with real higher blood pressure that don't have coronary artery disease. I don't think you should have high blood pressure. I think you should mitigate that for sure. So, but that's a reasonable comment there. So let's see. Let me go back here. All right, can you make a video of what and when you eat in a whole day? I do that all the time. I literally put up pretty much most of the meals I eat. So I'll tell you what I eat. In the morning, I have, I'll tell you what I eat right now. I get up in the morning, I do some sort of exercise. You walk the dogs. I usually do some interviews, podcasts. I do consultations. I might have some business meetings. I will then eat a meal, 11-ish, 11, 12-ish, something like that. It'll usually be a pound or two of beef. Right now I'm adding like a little bit of dairy to that. And then right now, because I'm trying to lean out, I won't eat a big second meal. I'll have a small, lightish meal around, like I had tonight around 6 p.m. I had another little bit of, I had a little bit of cottage cheese, a little bit of yogurt. And that was it. That was my meal for today. And if I'm trying to maintain weight, that would be a steak. And if I'm trying to gain weight, I probably have another meal in there. I might have three meals in there. But generally, it's, anywhere between, I don't know, 1 to 2 pounds to 3 to 4 pounds of steak, and plus or minus a little bit of dairy, plus or minus some eggs here and there. So that's kind of my meal pattern. Charlie Johnson, can you build muscle without working out on carnivore? Not to any significant degree. You might change a little bit of fat for protein. You might have a little bit more muscle, but it's not going to be significant. It's not going to be like, oh my God, I sprouted 20-inch guns just sitting on my butt, eating carnivore. So yeah, I've seen some people where they just, they're just a little bit more muscular, a little less fat. Yeah, I think that can happen, but it's not, you got to put those muscles to use and to work to really build them. So I wouldn't count on that. But I've seen some people that have, put on, particularly if you're really under muscled. I think if you're like skinny, weakling, frail, vegan diet, post whatever, then you go carnivore and you're just getting this high quality protein. Yeah, I think just the activities of daily living will be enough to stimulate a little bit of muscle growth. So you might put on 5 pounds of muscle over the course of 6 months to a year. But after that, beyond that, you're not going to start getting like big muscles and jacked like you're working out without working out. All right. All right. What else? Any update on Rivero, Jason Harrison? Yeah, like I said, we're open. We're like I said, Florida, Texas, started there, California, Washington, next states, and then after that, I'm not sure what states we're going to go to, but we're hiring. We've hired coaches, new coaches, more physicians, more providers. We're expanding slowly. We're just making sure the product is dialed in like we like it. We're getting feedback from our members saying, hey, this can, like the software issues, like, hey, the app has a little error there, so we're fixing all those things. And yeah, so we're up and running. I meet with the Rivero patients every week. Once a week I have a meeting, so I'm chatting with the people, and they're largely liking it. They're enjoying it, so that's really good. So I'm really happy with the way things are going. But like I said, over this year, our goal is just to expand to a certain size so we can collect data, so we can publish our data, so then we can bring that health data and cost savings data, and then start going into corporations and offering our services to corporations, and then go from there. So that's the update right now. Sid Snyder, went to my new doctor today, very disappointed. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. So we got Rivero docs, So what do you think of Operation Mindcrime? I'm not sure what that is, so I don't have any comment on that. Sorry, man. We got Mike, M-I-E-K. I'm not sure how you say that. Mike. I'm not sure. Greetings from the Netherlands. Okay. Started last October, feeling very well, and love your daily shorts there. All right. Well, I'm glad you're doing well. Thanks for that. What was your first car, and then what was your first car as a surgeon? My first car that I ever had was a Pontiac Firebird, 16 or 17 years old, black, back in 1983, 93 or something like that, whenever I was 16, 17. And the first car I had with it when I was a surgeon was a Infiniti QX56, a little SUV. It was actually a pretty good size SUV. I've only bought, like, in my entire life, I've only bought a handful of cars. I'm not a car guy. I drive, literally, I'm sitting in a 2012 Toyota Tundra right now. And I had replaced a 2008 F-150 that kind of finally just kind of ran into the ground on me. So I'm not like a car. I don't spend money on vehicles. I don't spend money on clothes. I'm not really like a real needy materialistic person. You know, I like eating good food, but you know, I work out stuff, you know, that type of stuff. But I'm not much into cars. All right. All right, we got CB Carmack. Absolutely, Doc. Just want to praise you, Carnivore, for almost 16 months now. Type 2 diabetes gone. 7 out of 7 meds gone. Been law enforcement 14 years. James Hadfield, Metallica is mostly carny. Okay, well, okay. I'm not gonna. I don't have any comments on the Metallica stuff, but awesome. It's really good to hear. You know, again, lots of. In fact, I just talked with this morning. I had a meeting with a congressman from Oklahoma, talking about doing a diabetes carnivore study in the state of Oklahoma, as well as we're talking about some in South Dakota. So I've got a lot of this stuff in the background with these different legislatures in some of these cattle producing states wanting to, you know, talk what I've been talking about. Hey, let's do some studies around this stuff, because it's important information, not only for the health of humanity, but also for the beef industry. They need to know they have a product that literally is saving lives and putting disease in remission, and we've got to be able to study that. So anyway. All right, shorts with you eating food are hilarious. Yeah, they're kind of cute, I think. All right, we got Nash, 11 pounds in 2 weeks down. Good for you. All right. And where do you purchase steak in bulk? Costco, a good option. Well, like I said, I have a half a beef in my freezer from a local rancher. I have, to be honest, guys, a lot of ranchers just send me beef because I have a pretty big social media and they want me to kind of advertise to them, and I'm happy to do so. I like to support the ranchers, so a lot of that comes from there. I do go to Costco from time to time and pick up stuff there. I mean, you can definitely get some good stuff. I mean, particularly if you buy their primals, like they sell like ribeyes and New York strip subprimals. You can just cut them yourself down. You can big old briskets they have. I've seen like picanhas in there. I think they call them top sirloin with cap steaks or something like that. Yeah, I mean, Costco can be a really good option. Costco does pretty good with their meat. I mean, they really, I know, I talked to one of the Costco suppliers. I interviewed him a few years ago, and my wife actually, if any of you guys are looking for furniture, go to Costco and go use Bayside. My wife produces that furniture. She literally designs it, helps produce it overseas, imports it, and you know, does all that. So, but the reason I'm saying is they are very, very much sticklers for quality. Across every product they sell is generally very, very high quality. As you guys know, they take anything back, no questions asked. So they've got a really good customer friendly sort of situation there. All right, we got Brock Merrick, man, Sean, thanks for sticking to your guns. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, like I said, I walk the walk. You know, I don't just talk the talk. I walk the walk, and I'm not here to, you know, glom onto the next fad social media things, because, you know, you see that with a lot of the influencers in the space. They kind of, whatever they do to get more clicks. If anything, I've been very consistent with my messaging over the years. I've never said carnivore is the be all end all to everything, but at the same time, I've never like jumped from this to that. You see somebody like the attention span of a gnat. They're just flying all over the place because they think they're going to get more clicks and views that way. Best meat I ever had was a fat Muscovy duck. Yeah, I've had some good duck. I had some really good duck breast in Iceland, Rick. That was, in fact, when I went to Iceland, this was back in 2018. I went there in January, which is cold. But it was a carnivore little meeting, and there was a restaurant downtown Reykjavik called Burro, like donkey, you know, Burro, and they put out a whole carnivore menu for us. I mean, the menu was literally printed up carnivore. They had all the meats, and they had carnivore sauces, various, just sauces that were purely animal products. And my favorite thing on the menu was the duck. I mean, they had ribeye, and the lamb was really good. They had some really good lamb in Iceland, but yeah, duck can be really good. On the top, to use animal fat to cook, yes, which one? Yeah, I mean, I use animal fat. I mean, I use butter to cook my eggs, or ghee to cook my eggs when I'm cooking eggs. I'll use I've used tallow from time to time. Most of the way I cook my steaks is outdoors on a grill, so I don't really need to add anything to it. So I don't use a lot of it. But when I do, it's usually probably more often than not, I just cook things in butter, like shrimp, butter, or ghee, typically. All right. Rico, the tire iron. I ate some ice cream. I'm going to eat some more. All right, we'll have some fun. Have fun. Have some for me then. Richard, what is your most max bench? The most I've ever bench pressed was exactly 400 pounds. I did that in a powerlifting meet probably in, God, what year was that? 1998 maybe? 98, 99, something like that. That's when I really was focusing on. I've never been a good bench presser. I've got super long arms. I got like 39-inch dress sleeves on my for my coats. I've got super monkey long arms, so I never was a good bench presser. So 400, I was happy. I never got 405, which would have been 4th place. I was kind of bummed about that, but anyway, right now, I'm 300-ish, something like that. I don't really train it much anymore. But yeah, I was never a particularly good bench presser. I mean, I put 300 overhead, which I thought was pretty good, but that was a jerk. So I mean, that was a behind the neck jerk that I got 300 overhead before, but never much of a bench presser. All right, what else we got? Free samples. You were my doctor. Oh my God, small world. Hi, Dr. Baker. Okay. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. I mean, maybe in an orthopedic capacity, I don't know. Well, hopefully I treated you well. We got Cosborn. Can a man in his mid-30s transfer his body without tear-tearing growth? Heck yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. Yeah. I mean, it's going to take a lot of work. I mean, like I said, it's not fast. It's, you're talking over years to transform, put on, I don't know, it depends what your starting point is. If you're like totally naive to lifting, yeah, you can put on 10, 15, maybe 20 pounds of muscle in the first year if you get after it, and then it's slow after that. Like for me, I'm really happy that in the last 8 years since I've been carnivore, I've managed to put on what I believe is about 10 pounds of solid muscle. As a, now 57, soon to be 58-year-old man, that's good. I mean, and that's like a pound a year, right? And that's busting my ass in the gym, and I'm really excited about being able to do that. And I'm definitely I'm as strong now as I'm probably, well, I know I'm stronger at 57 than I was at 45. And at 45, I wasn't weak. I was still very, very strong, but I'm actually stronger now, and that's really cool. Yeah, I think I'm going to be stronger this year than I was last year. I was pretty happy about last year. So yeah, it's possible, but it just takes consistency. It takes good sleep. It takes good food. It takes consistent training, time and time again. And you can't just say, oh, I worked out for 3 months and I didn't get any bigger. You got to put years into it. Years into effort, right? I want to see more comedy videos with cooking with French. Yeah, I did those things as a good. Yes, you cannot believe how many people got mad that I did that. Oh my God, you're doing some sort of Freemason initiation ritual of subjecting yourself to humiliation and all this sort of nutty stuff. I was just goofing around. It was like, it's funny. It's just, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of, it took some effort. I mean, it's fun. I had some fun. I was cracking myself up. I thought stuff was pretty damn funny. But anyway, MCS says coffee, Lily Coy. Oh, Lily Coy, you sound familiar there, Lily Coy. I think we talked today, or today or yesterday, something like that. What kind of salt do you use? I use Hawaiian salt. Of course you do, from being from Hawaii, right? I use Malden, Malden sea salt, which is very good. It's a nice flake salt. It melts really nicely on the meat. I use Redmond's real salt. I use some Baja Gold salt. I use just straight up sea salt from Costco. So a few other things. Do you think body strength, functional exercise are the most effective, such as sled press, step ups, etc.? Do I think they're most effective? It depends on what your goal is. I mean, effective at what? I mean, it depends on what you're trying to achieve. I mean, these exercises have. I mean, if your goal is to put on the most muscle, then you want to isolate muscle groups and make it very difficult and inefficient in the form and maximize time under tension. If you're looking to get strong and explosive in a particular lift, then you got to do those lifts. So I mean, it really depends on the goal. I mean, I do a lot of that, a lot of sled pushing and jumping and hopping and snatches and deadlifting and things because my goals are not necessarily bodybuilding related. They're more in lines of athletic performance. And so it depends on what your goal is. If you want to be a good sprinter, then what you're doing in the gym is going to be very different than what you would want to do as a bodybuilder. So again, it depends on the goal that you're looking at. Do I know a Jerry Dyer by chance? Cartier Schnuski, Jerry Dyer, gosh. Maybe, if I had more contact. I remember somebody named Dyer in my past. I can't remember if his first name was Jerry. A guy named Dyer, and I can't remember his first name, but I don't know if you had more context where I might have known him from. I maybe so. Manny Steve, Rivero in Las Vegas. We will be in Nevada. We're not open. I mean, we technically will be. We're not there yet, but we will be in the coming. I'd say within the next 4 to 6 months, we'll probably be in Nevada. So, Carnivore Farmer, if you're on carnivore a long time, does that pancreas stop producing insulin? Does it become unfunctional? Well, I mean, you need insulin for protein metabolism. I mean, it's not, like I said, we still secrete insulin, so I don't see any reason why that would be the case. Now, you might not need to produce as much insulin because you become increasingly insulin sensitive and you have a lower demand for it. But to say it becomes unfunctional, I mean, like I said, you may have an overall lower secretion of insulin, in total. But I think that's just because, you're just not putting the high demands of carbohydrates well. So, but protein still requires insulin. And interestingly enough, in some people, fat actually requires insulin too. There's a recent cadaveric study that showed that about 8% of the people actually have a pretty high, robust insulin response to fat. So I think the answer to that is probably no. All right. I got about 5 minutes left, guys. Thomas Trucking Shanann Thomas Trucking had a friend that asked if skinny men who struggle gaining muscle mass could benefit from a carnivore to put muscle on, bulk up. Yeah, provided they eat enough, eat enough and train, so yeah. All right. What else do we have here? Gosh, I absolutely had to evict all the Reese's cups. There you go. Sergeant Beef, you can use DoorDash to buy steak from your local steakhouse or rib job. Man, that sounds like such a waste of money, man. If you're spending money on DoorDash to order steaks, you either got a lot of money you're willing to waste. First of all, you're paying extra for the delivery fee. You're paying probably 4 to 5 times the markup for them to cook it. So it's not a very good use of funds to do that. Math guy, would you suggest is the best field in medicine to go into if you want to focus on helping prevent patients from metabolic dysfunction? You got to go into primary care. You're going to get brainwashed the wrong way, but I mean, that's going to give you the most exposure to that. I mean, I think, that's probably, I went into orthopedic surgery because I thought primary care was at the time, I felt it was frustrating because none of the patients were getting better. The physicians were all frustrated because none of their patients are getting better. But I will tell you, the primary care physicians that focus on lifestyle and nutrition are immensely much happier. Now, they don't make as much money as like some of the surgical subspecialties. I was in one of the most lucrative specialties, an orthopedic surgeon. But again, I'm having way more. I make a hell of a lot less money now than I did as a surgeon, but I'm having way more satisfaction. You know, I feel so much better about what I'm doing, and I just get a lot more fulfillment out of what I do on a day-to-day basis. All right, guys, we're gonna do one or two more questions, and I gotta run. All right. Julie Jones, Dr. Baker, big fan. Recently diagnosed with alpha gal. I want to let you know. I want to know your general thoughts on this. Thank you. So alpha gal syndrome is associated with it. With, you know, typically think about the Lone Star tick. There are other ticks that can carry this as well. Fortunately for most people, it is a transient diagnosis. That is to say, this is a situation that resolves for the vast majority of people. There are some people that are left with this kind of chronic allergic response to mammalian meat, so any kind of mammal, right? Any animal that drinks milk. So that would be cows and deers and pigs and, you know, whatever. So you can eat avian meat, you can eat fish. I've seen some people, you know, like Rick was talking about, duck can be quite good. Emu, I've seen people use emu as a kind of a faux. Emu and ostrich is kind of a red meat substitute, which they're kind of similar properties, and they're a little lean and gamey tasting, but they might do. So you might do with that for a while, and then just plug on, and hopefully it'll resolve for you. And you know, some people it's mild, some people it's severe reaction, so hard to say. But that's what the deal is on alpha gal as I understand it. Rather. Erica May Music. What about hypoglycemia with type 2 diabetes? What should I do? Well, if you're symptomatic, you know, and you know, if you're like your blood glucose is in the 40s and you're like sweaty and, you know, typical hypoglycemic, so take some damn glucose tabs, you know, bring it back up, you know. But as you improve, you know, as your metabolic health improves, just keep sticking with the diet, and then that'll start to even out. As you get better at producing ketones and utilizing ketones, you'll be less symptomatic, even though your blood pressure, maybe your blood sugar is sitting at 60 or 70, right? In past times, because if you're a diabetic and you're used to your blood sugar being, you know, 180, 200, 240, 300 all the time, then, you know, even 100 might seem like hypoglycemic to you. But you've got to renormalize the normal distribution so that, you know, that 70 to 140 normal distribution is now normal for you. And then eventually, there are people on carnivore and keto that sit there with their blood glucose in the 50s routinely, and they are not hypoglycemic. They are completely perfusing their brain with nutrition. They are completely with it. I've literally done workouts with my blood glucose in the 50s and crushed them. So, but initially, like until you accept metabolism, you got to, you know, support that. You know, have some glucose tabs with you, take them as you need them, and then just as time, you know, as your body, as you get leaner, as you start utilizing more fat for fuel, you'll probably need to lean on that less and less. I got to go, guys. I got to pick up my son. You guys have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.